Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you found this, then that means you are interested in being a freelancer, or you just want some random entertainment. My name is Skylar, and I have been a full-time freelancer for about a month now. I quit my 9-to-5 to do this, so I thought it would be fun to make a video on my thoughts, my advice, my experience. I've been freelancing for probably 4 years now, but just recently did it full-time. So I didn't start a month ago. Okay, let's get started. So in this video, I'm going to go over a quick background on how I got started, what my journey was like, but I'll try to make it brief. Then I'm going to go into 3 different topics. The first one is freelancing for me? I want to make sure if you're watching this that you kind of know what freelancing life looks like, pros and cons between a full-time 9-to-5 and freelancing, things like that, just to give you a better idea, because once you're doing it, it's kind of scary, and I just want to make sure that you get the full picture of what it's like. Number 2 is the one everyone always wants, is how to find work. We would all freelance if finding work took 2 seconds, but it's hard. So I'm gonna go over how I did it and resources for you so that you can find clients so that you can start freelancing. And number 3, I am going to make a list of actionable steps for you if you have just started freelancing, or if you are brand new and you have no idea where to start. Jumping into being a full-time freelancer is really intimidating, so I wanted to give you actionable steps and a real list on what to do today to get started so that it's less wishy-washy. I hope that it's actually tangible advice for you, and yeah, I'll stop talking, let's get started. So a really brief intro about me. I'm going to try to talk fast because I tend to ramble. I went to college for digital cinema and PR, and during college I also took graphic design courses. Using my graphic design skills, I started a small business during COVID, and I made apparel and stickers and stationery. With starting this business, my social media accounts got some attention, and a family friend reached out to me to see if I wanted to do some graphic design work for a startup company. In 2021, I started freelancing for a startup company, actually 2, because a family friend noticed that I had these skills because I posted them online. This was an extremely lucky and amazing opportunity for me, and I'm so grateful for it. But I know that this can happen to any of you out there as well. Part of my main course requirement of my major was to create a portfolio before we graduated. So I took all my work from college and I put it into a portfolio so that I could send it to jobs that I was applying for. I got a 9-to-5 in June 2022, and my ex-boss told me that the reason I got the job was because of my portfolio. I'll also say that this same concept goes back to high school as well, when I was doing short film videography for fun, making silly short films with my friends. Someone in my town knew that I did that, so she reached out to me and said, hey, can you video my wedding? If you do things that you enjoy and you share them, people will kind of store that in the back of their head and reach out to you when they're in need. Now I am a full-time freelancer and wedding videographer, and I also run my own online store. My main freelance gigs right now are editing and filming YouTube videos for Morgan Adams, doing graphic design work for an online AI shopping tool. For them, I kind of do like editorial graphic design. 3, I also edit corporate videos. Okay, I think that pretty much sums up my journey and what I do. Throughout this video, I might be referring to freelancing things on the more design and video side. I understand that freelancing is so broad, and you could be a freelancer or a contractor doing any service. So apologies if I reference it toward the jobs that I do, just because that's what I'm used to. Okay, section number 1 is freelancing for me. I got really good questions. Someone said, will you miss your 9-to-5? And also asked, what is the hardest part of freelancing? So I thought it would be a good idea to do a pro and con list really quick, because I have had a 9-to-5 and I have freelanced. The pros of freelancing is that you can generally make your own schedule. If I have a doctor's appointment, I don't have to tell anyone. If I want to go to Starbucks, I don't have to tell anyone. If I want to go grocery shopping or do laundry, I don't have to tell anyone. It's much more flexible and it feels like real life. Number 2 is it's not always based on hours. In a 9-to-5, you have a base salary, and that's like set in stone for at least a year, if not more. It takes a while to get a promotion, etc. For example, a project's budget might be $2,000, and it doesn't matter if it takes you 5 hours or 10 hours or 30 hours, that's just what it is. So this could be a pro or a con, but typically if you can get things done at a good pace, you might be getting more per hour than you would at your position in a 9-to-5 for your skill level. And on top of that, hourly work, you also usually get paid more. Right now I'm getting paid more per hour, but I don't necessarily work 40 hours a week. So that's just kind of another balance. Not necessarily a pro or a con, that's just something to consider. And number 3 is that you can work wherever you want. The thing that kind of stressed me out when I was at my 9-to-5, it was in person, by the way, it's just like you feel trapped even though you're fine. Like, I liked my 9-to-5, it was fine, but you're just like imagining like, dang, what if I was downtown right now working at a coffee shop? And it sounds silly, but it really is fun to like glamorize that lifestyle, especially if you're doing creative work. That's really important. And the last pro I'll talk about is that there's diverse projects. Like I said, I do YouTube videos, but I also do editorial graphic design. This won't apply to everyone if you have a really niche service, but still, even if you're a social media manager, you might be managing a food company and then you might be managing a makeup company. This also goes for if you are an agency, so not necessarily just freelancers, but I was doing in-house work at my 9-to-5 and everything was focused on that brand and that brand only. So it's fun to freelance because you can say yes to new projects, no to current projects, and kind of work around doing different types of things so that you don't get burnt out. Okay, cons when compared to a 9-to-5, for example. So the biggest, hardest one, at least for Americans, is we get our healthcare through our employers. This is just how the system works. Getting healthcare as an entrepreneur is very expensive, so a lot of people will get this benefit through their employer. Now, I'm not 26, so a huge thing I want to bring up is that if you are over 26, you will have to make a more risky financial decision than someone who is still on their parents' insurance or gets their insurance through their spouse. That is a con. I don't get PTO, I don't get health insurance. Another con is that the income is very random, the amounts are random, the times are random. Me and my dad were just talking about this because he's a business owner too. You can have very high months and very low months. So just because you might be a high roller for June, July, and August, you could have very bad months, December and January. Because of this, you have to be very organized with your finances and make sure you're not spending beyond your means. And on top of this, you're not guaranteed a paycheck necessarily. So if a project isn't finished, you might not get paid, or if the payment terms are net 30 or net 60, you might have to wait a month or two to get paid. With that, the work overall is unpredictable. Yes, you should and will have contracts between yourself and who you're working for. At the end of the day, most contracts usually, at least from my experience, as long as you or them wants to stop working with you, they just have to give you a certain amount of notice, 15 days, 30 days, 60 days, and then you won't have that. This I find kind of a weak argument just because I know that you can also get fired from a job. Like, no job ever is secure for that long. But with that being said, typically 9-to-5s are more secure than a short-term freelance project. So I understand that. And the last con, which I think a lot of people don't really think about, is that you can't clock out. When you have a 9-to-5, or if you are a barista or have a different part-time job that's in person in certain hours of the day, when you leave, you can forget about it, at least if you have a healthy work environment. When you freelance, since your schedule is not set in stone, you might be up really late one night trying to finish a project. Next day you might not work at all, but you can't ever shut off your brain when you're doing these things, at least for me. But when you work for someone in a 9-to-5, you can go in, do your work, leave, forget about it. That is something really heavily to consider if you like that. All right, number 2, the one that everyone cares about. How do you find work as a freelancer? I am going to try to explain this in a visual way. So we're gonna start with the portfolio. The portfolio is the basis of this whole thing. Now, if you don't have a portfolio, or if you don't have any work, I'm going to use graphic design in this example. If you know you can graphic design, but you don't really have any real work to show for it, then this becomes a little roadblock, right? In order to get clients, you need a portfolio, but in order to build a portfolio, you need clients. So it's kind of a cycle. If you remember earlier in the video, I mentioned my portfolio is what has gotten me jobs, but it's because I had a freelance opportunity that I was able to put in my portfolio to show. But there are other ways that you can find work to put in a portfolio to find the clients that you actually really want to work for. So, family, friends, you need to be posting on Facebook. You need to tell all your friends, hey, you sell candles on Etsy? Hit me up. I can make you a logo. Local businesses. I have done this. To practice, I went to a local organic makeup shop and I went to a boutique and I said, hey, can I film for an hour and edit something for practice for my portfolio? And they said yes. Social media, you need to have a social media page. Even if you are the brand, you don't have to make an agency, or you don't have to be like a service. It can just be you. Like, hi, I'm Skylar and here's my work. You don't have to be a brand yet. LinkedIn and Indeed, these ones are a little more boring of an answer, but there are like freelance, contract, and part-time options on those platforms. So you could filter through that type of work. Fiverr and Upwork, I don't have experience with these, but these are ways that people also find work. And lastly, making something up. This one doesn't allow you to work with real businesses and real people, so you'll lack that connection there. But if you're a graphic designer and you want to make up a fake ice cream shop and you want to do their brand design and their logo design in a social media grid example or website, you can totally do that. Creative Market is a really like inspiring place for me to find fonts and templates. So if you want to go to there, that is something that has inspired me to do random projects like that. Another one, if you want to hone your skills, I would recommend joining Skillshare. I've learned a lot of skills through that website just by following those courses. So those are just some random resources, but I recommend. As far as building your portfolio goes, I can make a whole separate video on this, but the main things to remember are to only put work in there that you want to do. Once you have enough work to put in a portfolio to send to potential clients, you're gonna want it to be things that you enjoy. Don't just slap anything on there that you've done, because people are gonna see that and be like, oh, you know how to do that. Let me hire you for that. And if you don't like doing it and they want you to do it, you know. And for actually building your portfolio, I recommend using Wix or Squarespace. If you are also someone who wants to market different types of businesses, a portfolio is a great way to do that. You can have tabs on your page, or you can just put it in a giant scrolling page. Or if you offer different services, you can have different websites even. Yeah, I think making you the brand and you like the business or the entrepreneur will help you really manage and market different types of services. For example, if you go to my pages, you can quickly see that I'm a business owner, but I also do YouTube videos, that I also do graphic design freelance. So although they're like different things, they kind of will blend together and it'll become like you and your personal brand. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you're first starting out, the sound of building a portfolio sounds like a huge step, and it's like, okay, what do I do in between that? You know, like I want to be a freelancer, now I have to start building a portfolio. So I have to find clients and do all this work before I can even get paid. And I know that's super daunting and annoying to hear, but to be honest, that is a step that you just really need to take. You might be able to charge small amounts for work if you are first starting out, but this is why I recommend that you do freelancing on the side before you just go full-blown freelance. Unless you're someone who has a really strong support system or a lot of savings, I wouldn't quit a 9-to-5 or a part-time job to dive full into freelancing if you don't even have a portfolio started. That's just not a smart decision. You need clients lined up before you go full-time freelance. My recommendation would be to have at least 3 clients, one of them being a longer term contract or someone you have worked with for a long time and you know that they will still need your work. I wouldn't just find 3 brand new clients and then quit your job. I would make sure that there's some sort of relationship there that has been longer term, or you know that you have a lot of incoming projects. Or for example, if you are doing photography or videography, you have event dates booked for sure, set in stone. Just because it is risky, and if you don't have it lined up, it's kind of gonna be really stressful. That's just the honest truth. Build a portfolio and work on it while you do other things. Yeah. Okay, part 3, I'm going to give you a list of actionable steps on what to do if you are first starting. It's going to cover things I've already talked about, of course, but this is a listed version of what you need to do. Number 1, build a portfolio. Put work in that you've already done, work that you just do for fun, or reach out to businesses or family friends. If you already have a portfolio, it looks great, you're done, you are ready to show people, you need to reach out to people. Same thing for the advice for people who need to build a portfolio. I'm going to assign you. Reach out to 3 people that you know on Facebook that have a business, or is your mom's friend or your dad's friend or your grandma's friend, someone that you know from school that could possibly need your services. Now, reach out to 3 people that you love seeing on social media that would also possibly need your services. DM them, but be polite, because cold calling, cold emailing, cold DMing can be very annoying. So just do it in a very sincere and organic way. Do not spam people. And then I want you to message 3 companies on Indeed or LinkedIn that are looking for a part-time or freelancer. So that is 9 different people. Out of those 9, I'm sure at least 1 will respond. Once you do all of that, it's not easy, but once you do all of that, I would be shocked if you said that you hadn't found a client by then. My last tip of this video is to fake it till you make it. Someone asked how to build confidence when you are first starting, and to be honest with you, the truth is that typically clients don't know what they're doing either, which is why they reached out to you in the first place. Fake it till you make it, be confident, do the best work you can. If you got the job, then that means you earned it, and there's a reason why. So imposter syndrome is very real, but they need you, and there's a reason why you got it. And at the end of the day, if they don't really end up liking the work you do, if it's not a match for either of you, then it just didn't work out and you still got an experience out of it. So the worst that could happen is that you don't work together in the future, and that's not the end of the world. That's just how it is. And a lot of people who need freelancers are startup companies. They don't know what they're doing either. They just started their company and they need help. So just keep that in mind, that no one knows what they're doing and everyone needs help, and not everyone knows everything about everything. You have a place in this, you got this. All right, everyone, that is all I have to say about freelancing. I know it might have been a little long, but if you have any more specific questions for me, you can comment them below. I would love to make a part 2. I'm still learning too, so I don't know the answers to everything, but I hope this video could help someone that was maybe in my position a year or 2 ago. But yeah, I'm just kind of going with the flow as well and learning as I go too. I wish you all the best of luck. Please comment below any questions you have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.